I know you've been hurt, and when you've been hurt, when you've been trampled on, when you've been bullied, when you've been singled out, when you've been heartbroken numerous times by your primary caregivers, by your friends, by your family, when you've been made to feel less than, that's a lot of pain to carry, and it's a very heavy burden to carry with you your entire life. So I do understand when you get to a point where you're like, no, this is not worth it. This life thing, not worth it. It's not for me. Clearly, it's for other people, but I haven't reaped the benefits of it, so I don't want it. So I understand when you get to that point, and you're not alone. I've been there. I've had moments where I'm like, nah, I can't live anymore, because there's no way I've been rejected and abandoned, treated like shit and being bullied, and still want to live. Because what am I living for? Just to continue being hurt. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I understand you completely. But I also want to tell you that there is hope. It's possible to alchemize your pain. It's possible to transform your pain into something powerful. Whether it's through art, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through journaling, there is a way to transform all that pain into something powerful. Then you meet the right people. You turn it into success. You turn it into love, right? And I know if you feel like, but I don't know what love is, it's possible to find out what love is if you finally integrate your pain with your body and ask your body what it needs from you. You'll have all the answers. It's very important to start nurturing yourself when you realize that you want a better life for yourself. Start treating yourself the way you know a child should have been treated. When you feel like someone is treating you wrong, be like, would I allow someone to treat a child this way? No. And then you say, well, if I was the guardian for this child, this is your inner child, or whatever child, because sometimes I feel like when you look at it from our own perspective, then it's harder to know how to navigate the situation, because we feel like, yeah, but I deserved it. No. When you see another child being treated really badly, and you go, no, this child doesn't deserve it, how would you intervene as an adult? You'd probably be like, no, don't speak to her like that. And then you can do the same thing for yourself. When someone speaks to you wrong, be like, don't speak to me like that, right? Because you're entitled to determine how people speak to you, to tell people that you don't like how they're treating you, and that you would love for them to change how they approach you. That's the first strike. Second strike is leaving. When they do it again, now you clearly know that this person doesn't respect you. And unfortunately, when someone hurts you, you can't show pain and cry and be small and hope that they'll see it. No. If anything, a lot of people rejoice in that. They enjoy it. So they'll wait for the next opportunity to strike again, just to see you revel. No, just to revel in your pain. Just to see you suffer. It's an animalistic thing, I think. Humans love to assert dominance wherever it's possible. And so if you're looking fragile, then you're looking easy to devour, okay? So you need to assert your boundary, and you let them know that that's not how you want to be treated. And when they do it again, that's when you take the necessary steps to make sure that this person is not in your life. Or if you have to work with this person, let them know that they don't have the access to you as a friend anymore. They're simply a workmate. They can only approach you during work matters. And I think the most difficult thing that we face during this point, we want to be respected, but, we're scared. It's that lack of discipline for your boundaries. I think that's where a lot of us fail. Where it's like, oh, but I'm scared, but what if I'm not able to assert that boundary again? Or what if, they go who do you think you are? It's not who do you think you are, who you are. That's it, number one. Secondly, you have to respect yourself enough to constantly stand on that boundary. Someone's treating you wrong, assert that boundary, say, that's not how you're going to treat me. I'm not the one to be played with, okay? And, it sounds like such a small threat, but the moment someone realizes they can't be in your space anyhow, anytime, because you're like, oh, is it a work-related matter? And they go, no, it's like, okay, sorry, I don't have time for that. Yeah, you have to stand on business for yourself, because nobody else will. And people will always try to push those boundaries, right? It's kind of like when you say to God, oh my God, I really want a good job now. Well, you're going to be given many job opportunities, and you're going to be tested to see if you really want that job that you said you want, right? You're going to have bosses that abuse you. And it's up to you to be like, no, actually, yeah, I want the job, but I'm not desperate for the job, right? So even when you tell that workmate, you're not desperate for their presence. So when they come to you trying to be kiki, trying to have fun with you again, you asserted your boundary the first time, then they disrespected it again. The second time, you told them, yo, if it's work related, then I can attend to you. If it's not work related, let's not. You don't laugh with them for no stupid stuff. Okay, just look at them and be like, and they'll feel it. They'll be like, oh yeah, they did assert their boundaries. Because sometimes people even forget. They forget that you said this and that. So one, they want to test it. Two, they forget. So it's up to you to remember what you said to this person and how you want to be treated. And I promise you, they will treat you accordingly. When you want a better life for yourself, you declare it to God, to the universe, to yourself. Like, I'm no longer settling for bare minimum treated. I'm no longer settling for people choosing me last. So this comes for plans as well. There's plans with your friends, and then they go last minute, oh yeah, we're going here for brunch in an hour. No, they must respect that. I actually have a cousin who I once said to her, oh, would you like to go out at this time? The thing was happening in an hour, and she was like, no, if you'd like to make a plan with me, please tell me a day in advance so I can prepare. And I said, okay, cool. And I respected that. So every time I had a plan with her, I would ask her a day in advance. And I mean, I find it easy to respect people's boundaries, so I didn't think about it. However, I, on the other hand, when a friend used to invite me out and be like, oh, this is happening now, come on. I'm like dressing up quickly, you know, to make it there. And like looking back, my cousin had her boundaries and I didn't. I was ready to go anywhere at any time just because someone said, you know, meaning I placed more value on them than I did in my own presence. Was I not secure at home? Was I not happy at home? I was probably more comfortable at home than I was wherever I went. But I went to make someone else satisfied, to make someone else smile at my own demise. My cousin learned that very early on. And she was like, no, if you want to respect me, essentially, you call me in advance. So one, I can decide if I want to do it or not, if it's worth my time. And two, I can prepare myself. I can have myself prepared for the day in advance. So respect yourself. And respecting yourself is literally loving yourself more than loving another person. Because they don't recognize that. They don't care. Yeah, you're fulfilling their ego. But at the end of the day, they don't care. Right? And it's a huge sign of disrespect to you for someone to invite you anywhere last minute. Because why didn't they think about you in advance? They had this thing planned, you know? So they should have thought about it before inviting you out. If you have a service that you offer and you have a certain price for it, and then someone comes to you and be like, oh, I really need you for this job, but this is what I can pay you. You should be ready to decline. Say, no, I'm sorry. Because you need to understand that God has bigger plans for you. This bare minimum payment that's barely gonna pay your bills, buy you food, even the extra stuff that are not even necessities, you've already made a price because you know what it's about. So when someone comes, they're disrespecting you when they tell you how much they're gonna pay you because they can afford somebody else, not you. But they want you specifically, and then they want to lower your prices. Is that not disrespect? So when someone disrespects you, you got to respect yourself and be like, no, I'm not taking that. I'm not desperate for that. Because at the end of the day, for you to take it is a sign of desperation. It is a sign of you not knowing your own worth. So you've let someone else dictate your worth. You've let someone else cross your boundaries. You've let someone else disrespect you. Those are three different things. You've let them do it all. And then you did it to yourself by accepting the offer. And then when they don't pay you that little price that they asked for, and you don't follow up, as more disrespect. But you wouldn't even be dealing with this disrespect had you not dealt with the first one of being your boundaries being crossed and your worth being determined by them. Had you already known yourself, had you already established a sense of worth, had you already known your prices, had you been stern on that and told them, hey, these are my prices, and if you're not going to pay me my prices, I suggest you find someone else. If you had done that, they would have respected you. You would have even found a client that actually wants to pay you that and more. because you know your worth. You know what you deserve. Yeah. So you don't have anyone to blame when people treat you badly. I mean, I guess when you're still realizing the pain that you've been through, it's easy to pinpoint to be like, yeah, this person hurt me. It's a good way to understand the point of where you've been hurt, but you can't live in it forever because reveling in pain makes you only in more pain and you don't grow from that. I want you to grow because I want to grow. So it's the same thing in like relationships, in matters of romance. Someone approaches you and like, yeah, I only like, you're really pretty. I really like you. I like your vibe. I like your style. I'm like looking for friends with benefits. And you're like, okay, that works, right? You're so uncertain because you know you don't want that. But you've learned to want what people want from you. Hold on. You've learned to put your own wants aside for somebody else's wants because you've learned that your wants are insignificant and useless. No one has ever adhered to your desires. You know, when you were younger, say you wanted a certain laptop for school. And your parents were like, oh no, we can't afford that. And then 2 months later, they give it to your sibling. Right? You already saw the imbalance there where you desired something and you were told no, it can't be afforded. 2 months later, it was given to someone else that you know. So they do have the money. That's when you realize, okay, they do have the money, but I'm not worth it. That person's worth it. That's why they got it. So my wants are useless. So I must always settle for what is given to me or what is not given to me. I must just settle for not having anything that I want, that I desire. I must let go of my autonomy because clearly it'll never be respected. And when you're young, when you don't have any money, when you don't have the ability to work, those are the foundations that you start believing in. That's when you start realizing, oh shit, like I'll never get what I want, so I must always settle. Matter of fact, I must consider wanting something to be embarrassing because everybody's gonna know that I want it and they're gonna laugh at me because they're gonna realize that I'm not worth it. That's the mindset that you end up living with. And so somebody approaches you, they tell you that they want a friends with benefits. You know you want love, you know you want commitment, but you don't think you're worth it. And you've learned from past encounters and past relationships that you will never get what you want. So you settle and you start merging that person's wants with your own wants. Like you start thinking that that's what you want because they want it, because you're used to pleasing other people and not yourself. You're used to them determining your worth and not yourself. And that's when you start getting used and used and abused and used and abused. Boundaries constantly being crossed. You don't know right from wrong. You don't know your heart's desires from another person's. You're just the people pleaser. You just do what they want because it feels safer to do so. Because you feel like if you raise your voice and declare what you want, it will never be given. You feel like you're not deserving of what you want. So you never declare it. You never say, no, but I want a relationship. Because you feel like you'll be ridiculed and laughed at and be looked at like, you? Be for real, right? That's how you think. Because you've been made to feel that way. You've been made to feel small and insignificant. So every time there's an offer, you make sure that that person gets what they want and you don't get it. This is why we're here. We're here to transform your pain into power, into knowing who you are. It's time that you now discover who you are. Who are you? What do you want? What do you deserve? You deserve love. You deserve to be paid your prices. You deserve to be respected. And you deserve for your boundaries to be spoken. You deserve to be clear about what you want. And if you don't get what you want, it's okay to leave. Because there's millions of people out here. There's millions of opportunities out there. So maybe someone else will think of it as, oh, maybe that's toxic. It's toxic that it's your way or the highway, but this is your life. And there's somebody else who's going to be willing and interested in those things, just not you. And you feel scared to stand firm and to be disciplined in your boundaries because you feel stupid and you feel like, oh my God, my standards are too high. Who's ever going to love someone like me? Who's ever going to pay someone like me who's uneducated? Oh, but they will. Because what you bring to the table is knowledge. What you bring to the table is love. If you can respect other people's boundaries, why can't they respect yours? If you can pay other people their prices, why can't they pay yours? If you can be clear that you can't afford their prices and be like, hey, look, I can't afford your prices, so maybe I'll just find someone else. Why can't they do the same? Why do they have to insist on having you but not pay you your prices? If somebody else can tell you, hey, I'm still busy, I'm in a meeting right now, and you respect that, why can't somebody else respect, hey, please don't speak to me like that? Because I promise you, that person who's in a meeting, if you're to keep disturbing them, they'll shut you out. So you have every right to cut this person off, okay? This is your time to transform your pain into power, to love yourself, to have boundaries, to be disciplined with your boundaries, because nobody else will do it for you. You're old now, and you deserve to love life. And I promise you, once you start putting these steps into action, people will start respecting you, because they'll start saying, oh my God, this nigga stands on business. There's no playing about her, right? And people stop playing in your face. People play in your face because you allow them. They play in your face because they know you'll take it. The moment you decide, and it doesn't matter what you did in your past, it doesn't matter what you experienced, because this is you now. And that's the power of magic. It doesn't matter what happened before. You determine the reality you experience now. It's time to heal, and time to know what you like and what you don't like. Time to learn how to declare who you are and not let anybody else argue with that. Thank you. I'm Pure.